Welcome to episode 50 of the Hot Rod Hangout podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Ashley.
And tonight we got a special guest. Somebody that got, they were in the beginning. They helped us get started. What's going on, Uncle Brian from the hometown Hot Rodder?
What up, bitches?
What's going on, man?
Sorry, bro. I couldn't help it, man.
Oh, you're good, bud. No, man.
Cool, man.
It's weird that you reached out because literally I've been thinking, I'm like, man, I wish I could have at least you or you and Jimmy on and like it not be like, cause we do, it's different. Y'all do a podcast one way and we kind of do it a little different. And it's cool that to get both prescription
degrees different.
Yeah. So I was like, man, it'd be so cool.
Really, man, I think it's really not that you guys do it 180 degrees different because I listen to your show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not that it's 180 degrees different. Y'all just aren't as, retarded as we are. That's really about the only difference is that we sometimes forget to stop with the jokes long enough to bring in the cars. And you guys sometimes forget to stop with the cars and bring in the jokes.
10-4.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, I think that's it. I do have a question for you though.
Okay.
We're not live, right?
We're recording.
But we're not live.
No, we're not live.
Okay, good, because my camera doesn't work. But anyway, do you guys know? I've been trying to find loopholes for the last 2 hours because I really wanted to just kick it. This is the second time I've ever been interviewed. So I was interviewed on Joe Hedgepeth, Barber Joe. I was interviewed on his show, Carpenter and a Barber Walk into a Bar. But it was when he first started out, so we were like trying to help him figure out stuff and everything. So this is like the first interview on a, we'll say, seasoned podcast, right?
Oh.
So I was like, man, I'm just gonna kick it tonight and be laid back. I'm gonna do this shit on my phone. I'm gonna put my earbuds in. I'm gonna kick it on the back porch. Okay, but I said to spend 2 hours trying to figure out on Google how to kill a state bird without going to prison.
What?
Well,
so what is the Florida state bird?
I don't know.
I know it's illegal to kill
but I know it's illegal to kill the thing that y'all have out there and eat all the time.
Those sand cranes? Or is that what they're called?
Yeah, the sandhill cranes.
I didn't know anything about that. Our state bird is the mockingbird.
Oh.
Okay. They literally write books on how to kill these things, but you can't kill these things. You can fucking sneak somebody in the back of a fucking Ford van and bring them across the fucking river and have them and give them a house in Texas. But you can't kill a fucking mockingbird or pick a bluebonnet out of your fucking flower bed. I hope y'all are cool with me cussing.
It's all good, bud.
So you're gonna go to jail if you weed eat a bluebonnet on accident, right? Or if you happen to chunk a rock across the fence and knock a mockingbird off the fence because it won't stop going. So they're the most annoying bird on the planet, and we have some that have a nest in the tree in our backyard with eggs in it. And our cat likes to go out the dog door, and she climbs on top of the fucking fence, and they sit there and they attack her all day. They jump at her and they jump on top of her, and they all the fucking time. There's a new one for Brad Jackson when he listens to this. Try to make that noise, Brad. Ha! Good luck with that. That ain't gonna be no wop wop. That's gonna be a
oh jeez.
Maybe it'd be a bird that's going wop wop. A ninja mockingbird going to the cat.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know the loophole to kill a mockingbird.
Like you have to be like in fear of your life. Like you have to feel like the mockingbird's going to eat you. Because I could go over there and hold that bird's nest up in the air with one hand and a pistol in the other hand, or a baseball bat in the other hand. Is that premeditated?
I think if you incite the violence, I don't think you can finish the fight.
Yeah.
Well, son of my bitch. Okay, fine.
Now maybe slather yourself in peanut butter and get them to attack you. Then you may have something.
So anyway, man, congratulations on 50 episodes, dude.
Thanks, man. It's coming
for y'all for real.
So we
COM.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
So I didn't realize it, and Ashley, when you talked about you coming on, Ashley's like, "That's perfect because that's 50," and I was like, "It was meant to be." And then I
You're like,
got
"Hold
really
on, so
exciting news on my Model A, and I was like, well, we have to record a Tuesday live now. And she's like, nope, we're not recording shit. And I was like,
I love it.
10-4.
So you were like, so I'm talking to Brian. I think we're going to have Brian on. And she's like, good. It's our milestone 50th anniversary. And you're like, I mean, anyway.
So
that fucking failed.
So hot rods, man. So what got you into cars? What got you into this crazy obsession?
Man. Holy crap, I really am going to be interviewed. This is horrible.
Yeah, you are.
Man, honest to God, in my family, dude, it's a birthright. Being around cars, and my dad, everybody gives me a lot of grief because I'm such a random car person, dude. I like so many different types of cars, and I want to own them all at some point in my life. I love hot rods. I love street rods. I love customs. I love muscle cars. I love trucks, big trucks, small trucks, tall trucks, short trucks. I love them all. Fast trucks, slow trucks.
Squatted.
I have a very strange obsession with really fast European cars.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like luxury sports imports of other brands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I like to be comfortable and be able to go fast and throw something into a corner. I enjoy that, but I also enjoy kicking it and chilling and cruising slow across country in a mini truck with everybody like we did when we went to relaxing in the park. That was some of the most fun that I've had in 2 or 3 years. So, and then, driving the 55 from here to San Antonio 10 minutes after it was on fire out in front of the house, dude, you can't beat shit like that.
No.
And you can't make those stories up. So my life is everybody gives me a hard time for it because I like it all and I want it all. So if I have something and then I see something else that's really cool, well, I'm going to try to figure out how to trade that fucker out of that car. Right. Or I'm going to find a way to go sell plasma to buy one of those. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
My sperm's not worth much. Yeah, my sperm's not worth a lot because I have a whole bunch of kids, so the supply and demand thing is all fucked up. So there's so that one doesn't help any. And my kids are all retarded, so they don't want to have them because they're not smart kids, so nobody would buy that sperm.
But they good at sports.
You have to walk it over to the microscope and stick it on top of where it's supposed to be. Like, no, go here.
But they're good at sports.
Baby. One of them. The rest of them are pretty intelligent. That one's athletic as hell and tall, and I'm not sure he's really my kid. But Brooke doesn't listen to podcasts, so we're good.
Oh, okay.
But no, this all came from my dad, dude. To be honest with you, my dad and my cousins and uncles, they loved it all, right? And my dad taught me the art of trading something off for something cooler because your tags and insurance or tags and inspection were running out, and that motherfucker was tagged and inspected and getting lucky, and it was cooler than the one you were driving that was about to expire. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and then the Volkswagen thing, everybody gives me grief because I'm a dope fiend for air-cooled Volkswagens, right? Although I don't own one, and I haven't owned one in 10 years since I owned my last one. We got to do something about that.
I was gonna say,
hold on,
like a recovering.
That was Big Mama for any of your fans that don't know.
It didn't come through.
Oh, y'all didn't hear it?
Nope.
Oh, that sucks. I just yelled for Brooke real loud. Maybe it'll come through on the recording. I said, Brooke. But Volkswagens, my family, my cousins and everybody, I was just kidding. I don't need you. I love you though. But they were real big into Volkswagens. But they all like Baja Bugs because they're all, I'm oldish and they're older than me, So like in the 80s, like 70s and 80s, which I was born in 77. I'm not that goddamn old. But
man, that is 80s
old. Shut up.
That was 12 years before me and 17 years.
That's funny because that's only a year before my daughter was born. Anyway, happy belated 28th birthday to Brenda Nicole. She just turned 28 the other day. So, but anyway, street driven Bajas were a big deal in the 80s. Like it was like the precursor to the mini truckers, right?
Mhm.
So they went from street driven Baja bugs to slam mini trucks overnight, and it was a weird deal. But that's why, if you ever notice, man, and we were talking about this inside, I'm part of the Bonsai Cruisers Car Club, and in our group message the other day, we were talking that mini trucking kind of adapted a lot of the SoCal Volkswagen look when it first hit the scene. So, like the tweed interiors and the graphics and things like that. If you really pay attention, if you go back and you look at early Hot V-Dubs magazines or stuff like that, the Volkswagens carried a lot of that same shit that the mini trucks started carrying. You know what I mean? Because it was all the same cats, so like the same dudes in Southern California that were doing Volkswagens decided to go to mini trucks.
Yeah, we've said that about all cars because BP Customs, who's building the chassis for my Model A, he's a mini truck guy, and I'm like, hey, we're channeling the body. To him, it's a body drop.
Body drop.
They're all the same. We're all doing the same stuff. It's just different generations call it different stuff. And
let me tell you something, to the people that want to ride low and do it with fucking authority and not be able to get over speed bumps and shit. I don't know why y'all all hate on Volkswagen so bad, bro. That's a flat pan, dude.
True story.
Literally have that car 2 inches off the ground and drive it like a normal car.
Yep.
I've done it. You can drag it long enough to drag holes in the floorboard. I've also done that. So, but no, man. And I've had it all, dude. I've had lifted trucks. I've never owned a Baja. I've owned over 50 Volkswagens. I've never had a Baja. And I kind of want to rectify that problem. So I said on one of our episodes, it was our last one when Lloyd passed away. I said that I was inspired to build a hot rod, and then you and I had the conversation, and that's cool and all. And I still do kind of want to have a a hot rod, but I think I want to build a Baja before I build a hot rod.
What about a Volksrod?
I've done it. I've
always digged those.
I did it completely not through the Speedway catalog. And I didn't order a beam extender like everybody else does either. We did ours where we flipped the beam around backwards so that the trailing arms just went out instead of back.
Mm-hmm.
So it extended at the full length of the trailing arms, right? And then, I don't know if you know this, but in an old Volkswagen, everything to make that car right-hand drive is there. So it's all just plugs in the sheet metal for where the steering column should go through, and plug in the dash where the steering column should go through. And then where the gauges are, that side of the panels and the glove box are a perfect match for each other. You just fucking swap them.
I think Brazilian C10s are that way too.
Yeah. So we converted it to right-hand drive, and it was stretched all to shit. It drove like a turd, but it was cool.
Yeah.
It rode okay. It just turned. It was a long time. If you wanted to turn a corner, it was a long time.
Well, you're also taking a car. You're also taking the car with one of the shortest wheelbases and turning it into one with the longest wheelbase, and it's skinny.
You're basically taking it. Yeah, I know that problem. Long and skinny. You're basically taking it from the. You're basically taking it from the length of a shopping cart to the length of a Crown Victoria. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's why when I was trying to look for the rear end.
Ice in my cup.
You're good. When I was looking for the rear end for the Model A, I was like, I'm going to do a posi or a limited slip. I don't want to weld it because I'm like, I want to be able to turn. Well, now that it's sitting there, I'm like, it's long enough. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be okay. It ain't going to turn anyway. I mean, so why not have what you want to do it the way you want to? It's not going to turn anyway.
Well, budget constraints. It's probably going to get welded first.
Yeah, right. And just because hot rod, goddammit.
True story.
You know what's really cool about being able to hear my ice in my cup?
What's that?
I'm a guest and not the host, and I don't have to worry about it.
You know what's cool about it? We can't hear it either.
We'll delete the shit.
We can't hear it either.
You don't know what'll happen later, though. I do have the courtesy to turn away when I take a drink of my very fine Dr. Pepper.
Hell yeah. Now, it literally, everything on your end, the only thing I can hear on your end is your voice. So,
right on. That's
keep
good.
doing it.
So, I think, and then we progress, right? All of us do. So, for my dad, it was all about getting different cars all the time and doing all that cool stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then we get to high school and driving, and everybody's parents are pieces of shit when you turn into a teenager. You know what I mean? So then all of a sudden I'm hanging out with other car guys because they dug the car that I had, you know?
Mhm.
So then I meet Lloyd. Well, and then Lloyd, you know, God rest his soul, man. Hope they figured out how to deal with him yet. But so Lloyd taught us how to build a car, how to build a hot rod, how to tear one apart and put it back together and hope to shit that it runs, you know, and why when I turn on the left blinker, all of a sudden the wipers come on, you know, shit like that, you know what I mean? And figure the shit out. That's how. And so Lloyd kind of taught us that. So that kind of spawned the creative side of me and made me want to start building cars and designing cars. And then it was just over. Now I do that same thing where if I have one and then I see something I like better that's cooler, I'll lose $50,000 on a build just to get that other thing that I want. That they're only asking $8,000 for it, but so what? I want it. Now I'm that guy. And then we got into racing. We started in road racing, and I'll probably finish in road racing, to be honest with you, as far as what I enjoy doing in a car. Because corners are a lot more fun to me than a drag strip. But I enjoy drag racing enough to have, you know, been the proud lessee of a drag strip. And little news coming up for that in just a minute for everybody. So, but drag racing's not my 100% passion in auto sports. I dig it, and yeah, it's cool to go fast, but that's like hitting a fastball versus hitting a curveball, man. You train enough, you can hit a fastball pretty easily, but you got to have a certain level of psychosis in your brain to swing at a curveball and not bail out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to have balls to sit there and wait for it to not hit you in the face. So that's kind of how road racing is, right? Like road racing takes both of your nuts at the same exact time, and you got to learn how to do things like look through a corner before you get to it, and look at the exit of the curve before you're in the apex, so that you know how hard to hit it, and you know what gear you want to be in to come out of it, and all those cool things. Like road racing, there's no adrenaline rush like taking corners really, really fast. And I was a pretty proud dad earlier because my kid came home and he's like, "Dad, why am I trying to do stuff to make the car fast in a straight line?" I was like, "Because you're almost gay." I don't know. And he was like, "No, I think I want to make it corner and be able to like make it a road car." And I'm like, yes, yes, success. So Clayton's got a BMW to 07 E90 chassis, and it's a 6-speed car. So he wants to go play, and I'm 100% down for teaching him how to make those bad decisions.
Is that the one that he had previously, or is this a new car?
It's exactly the same as the one he had previously.
Oh,
except
okay.
for except for the other one was an automatic car.
Oh, okay.
So all the money that I am teaching him, because all the money that he dumped into that first one, it came time for me to grow up a little bit and buy myself a grown-up car to drive every day. Okay. So I found a 2015. Understand that if I want to buy a grown-up car, it's still got to be cool. And it's still got to have a little bit of spirit to it. Otherwise, I'll be a broken human being, and you know, I'll be wearing hoodies in the summertime to cover up the tattoos because I'm no longer a car guy. And so anyway, I found a 2015 Lexus F Sport that I wanted really bad because I've always liked the way they look. Well, I needed a car I needed to trade something in so that I wasn't financing quite as much cash, right? So I called Clayton and I'm like, "Hey, we need to talk when you get home." He goes, "Okay." I was like, "You're not in trouble. I need to run something by you." And he goes, "All right." So he gets home and he was like, I said, "If you had to pick one, would you rather have the BMW or the mini truck?" And he was like, "Why do I have to pick one?" I said, "Because I own them both and I need to take one of them in to trade in." And he's like, "But I've put money in the BMW." And I went, "Yeah, that's cool. But if you have to get rid of one, which one do you want to keep?" And he was like, "I think I want the mini truck." I said, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yes, I want the mini truck." I said, "You're positive?" He goes, "Yeah, it's cheaper on gas. It's cheaper to fix. Yeah, I want the mini truck. It's dope." I was like, "Okay."
Till you bag
So we trade the BMW. So we trade the BMW in. Okay. He's at the time he was 6'2", 6'3", somewhere around there. So he was wadded up in it a little bit, but not bad because it was in a Suzuki, so it had a little more room in it, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, fast forward 6 months, and he's almost 6'6", and still growing. And his knees are in the dashboard of this truck, and he's got nowhere to put these godforsaken mammoth feet when he's driving it, right? And so he's riding his foot on top of the clutch pedal, so the throwout bearing's making noise, and it's not his fault. He has nowhere to put his feet.
Yeah.
So I rode with him. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're going to die if you run into a bumper at the gas station. Like, this is probably not okay. And he's like, I know, I need another car and blah, 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 blah. So we sold the mini truck, and now he got another BMW.
Did you sell it, or was there a trade involved in that?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we traded it first. We traded it for a Mercedes, 83 240D. And it was dope, and it was going to be so gangster-ass cool. But it had some issues. And he wasn't willing to drive it to school like that. You had to suck it off to kill it. But whatever. So we sold it, and we got him the BMW. There,
okay.
Asshole. Thanks for bringing that up. I really wanted to build that car, dude. I kind of wanted to build I'm not saying I gave up on the idea. I want to build an old school Mercedes hood ride. Like, I don't give a shit if it's got rust, which that one didn't. It was a laser straight body. But like, I want to build like a hood ride Benz. You know what I mean? Like, bag it, we'll pin her white walls on it. I want to do wires on it, or Supremes, whichever. And I'm talking roof racks and the whole 9 yards. Like, I want to build a pile of shit. I don't know why, but I think it would be rad. And if it's a diesel, it'll get like 40 miles a gallon.
Yeah. Well, since you said you wanted to build that car, unlimited budget, what's the car you'd build?
Do I have to really pick one?
You pick a couple.
I've heard you do this with people, but I have one of most genres.
Same.
That makes sense.
Same.
So
your top three.
If I was gonna pick a vintage car,
okay,
without question, without hesitation, 3-window 36 Ford Coupe, flatty with a 5-speed conversion because I like to drive my shit. Other than the 5-speed, nostalgia and period as correct as I can be for a mid 50s hot rod.
Okay.
Build. If I'm going with new car, man, I'll be honest with you. I kind of dig, like I said, I really like fast European sedans. I think I would have to do something in the either a Panamera GTS. But since I have a whole shitload of kids and that's only got 2 seats in the back, it wouldn't work that well. So maybe like a CLS 63, but all done up built like a CLS 63 Mercedes.
Okay.
Look, dude, have you ever been 200 miles an hour?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, close.
In a car or motorcycle?
Both.
Okay. There's 200 in a car. There's no feeling like it. The best sex you've ever had in your life doesn't come close to touching 200 miles an hour in a car. It just doesn't. My knees have never shaken for that long after I got done. So 200 in a car is awesome. And that's how I have all the metal in my arm and stuff, because I was right at 200 whenever I lost one. So, but I would do it again tomorrow. So that's kind of how I want to go with that deal. You know what I mean? Like, that would be if it was a newer car. And then I don't know, man, I've had a bunch of really nice trucks. It would be cool to have a late model, just a good looking dually, not much done to it. Maybe a leveling kit and some taller tires on stock wheels. And other than that, just a good truck.
Okay.
So I'm kind of a simple kind of cat. I mean, the 36 Ford's a little bit of a reach, but I mean, I could go tomorrow and buy a CLS 63 if I, didn't want to be married anymore. But going and buying a 36 Ford would be a little tougher. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, especially although it's weird because location helps in certain cars. Okay. Like Texas, y'all's Model A's are cheap as shit. Y'all C10s are cheap as shit. Bring them same cars over here, they'll bring double.
C10s probably not. C10s are probably the same or sometimes even worse.
Dude, you can't
C10s bring a lot of.
You can't find a stock
C10
one with rotted cab corners here for less than 16.
What year?
Any 63 to square bodies.
Oh fuck. Yeah, that's a little retarded.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be rotted because salt water.
Yeah.
Salty air. Here it just you sweat real bad, so it's just salty nuts. But
the gap in prices is closer
also
here.
salty.
So like
prices, my bad, not gap.
So like a C10 that needs cab corners, rust in all the typical Chevrolet spots is 15, 16 grand. One that is done, already had the cab corners replaced, repainted and all that, it's like 20.
So let me ask you this. I'm not trying to turn it around to be the interviewer, okay?
No,
but
good.
I do have a question for you.
Okay.
I have learned. So I always thought that I wanted to build my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to buy one and build it myself and blah, blah, blah. Well, unless I'm planning on keeping that motherfucker for 20 years from now on, I ain't trying to build it myself anymore. You know why? Because if I'm going to sell it, the margin is the same.
Right.
And you can save the work.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So like, I can go buy one that's done and go enjoy it now. And then when I'm bored tomorrow, I can sell it and make the same amount of money percentage wise as if I spent 2 years building the fucker and got bored with it and shoved it out the door before it was finished.
So I have a weird perspective on that. So my Model A obviously is a complete ground up. We're doing it. We've talked. The reason that I had BP Customs do a chassis is we became friends. He is trying to start something and I want to support that. And the goal was he builds the chassis and gets the floor pan done or the floor done, and I have the motor done, and I've collected enough parts that when he gets done, we can kind of marry the two together. And ideally it was going to save time. I have come to the conclusion that putting a time crunch on anything is absolutely retarded. I'm never going to do that again. Just because money gets tight and you make decisions that aren't the correct ones. And like my bills are paid, and I'm fortunate that Ashley is very understanding of the car hobby, but like trying to get money together because like a good, for instance, I just had to I bought a short water pump for the motor, but it didn't work with what I was trying to do with the other parts. And if I would have not been rushed and had the other parts, I would have known it wouldn't have worked. So now I have a short water pump on the shelf, and I had to order a long water pump to make it work.
You're having water pump and alternator bracket problems.
So it has it is going to have a Gilmore built drive system on it. Mm-hmm. And with a short water pump, the alternator bracket that they sell for short water pumps, unless you use the stock one, will not work. The belt is like, I don't know, 10 inches too short.
Plus, I hate to say this, and I'm going to hurt a lot of small block Chevrolet people's feelings, but it's the truth. Nobody makes a good-looking alternator bracket setup for headers for a short water pump. The bracket that mounts on the exhaust manifold side always looks like a really poorly built afterthought.
So the short water pump mount that I had was a driver side. It mounted into the head, the front of the head, and it actually looked pretty good on there.
Okay.
But like I said,
but it just wouldn't work.
The belt needed to be longer, and it was offset with the pulleys. So like I'd had to try to space something out to make it work.
So I have a friend that's a hardcore Ford guy. Okay. I get a lot of grief for Jimmy because my favorite car's a 36 Ford and my favorite truck's a 56 Ford. And I didn't have that in my money's not an object deal because that is one that I would like to build on my own, by the way. But this Ford guy, he goes, you know why Chevrolet makes it so hard to get a bracket set up right on the front of their motor for accessories, right? And I was like, no, give me your infinite wisdom. Why? And he goes, because they had to do something to make it not feel like you were putting Legos together. They had to do something to make you think a little bit when you're building a small block Chevrolet.
And my response to that was,
I think it's a fair assessment.
Everybody and their mama got a small block Chevrolet because they work. You can go buy any part you want for it at an AutoZone, except for our auto parts store. Our auto parts store can suck it.
And it's getting a little more scarce too because everybody's filling their shelves up with LS and Cummins parts.
Well, I still have a Cummins, but
oh no, I love Cummins. I'm not dogging them. I'm just saying that's what everybody has parts for.
Well, yeah, I mean that's. No, man, that's. I guess that pretty much answered your question. I guess. Yeah.
In a 20-minute answer.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. What else you got? Feed me more.
What's the car that got away?
Oh, son of a bitch. Man, there's been a lot, dude. I mean,
well, I'm not talking about the ones that you like sort of regret as they're leaving. I'm talking the ones that are like
the one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The one you think about, the one that keeps you up at night. Like, man, why did I get rid of that? Or why did I not pull a lot of money out of my pocket and buy it?
Yeah. So that's probably a little more like it. And, I touched on it in our episode, when I said I was inspired this was on the one about, our bros being mad because we did a podcast insulting pretty much everybody that we loved. It was a joke, by the way, everybody. That was not serious.
Except for Phantom Grills.
Phantom Grills or whatever. But I had what's funny about that? Let me sidetrack for a second. So I made an absolute joke about Phantom Grills. I don't hate them, but the pup had one when we bought it, but it was homemade and it was really, really poorly built and it was broken in like 89 places. So it looked terrible. But when I changed it, you would have thought that we cut the top off of a museum piece, right? They were like, oh my God, why'd you take the Phantom Grill off? And I'm like, because I don't like penises. Like, I took it off because it was fucking gay and it was broken and it was crooked and it was rusted and a stock grill was $40. That's why it's gone. So I don't hate Phantom Grills, but when Jimmy and I were talking about it on the next episode, I said, what's funny is that, because he said he only liked them on mini trucks. And I said, that's funny because I only like them on full-size trucks, right? I was like, on full-size trucks,
I feel that.
Less homo.
I feel that, right? Because they're longer, they look more proportionate.
Yeah. Yeah, and on a square body Chevrolet, they fit because a square body Chevrolet looks like it ran into a wall from the factory.
Yes.
And a Phantom Grill takes away all the shape of the body, so it's a perfect match in heaven.
Yep.
Right? For Lloyd's funeral procession. This man has a yard full of fucking cars and hot rods, right? Mm-hmm. And we're all going to drive them for the funeral, right?
That's awesome.
Guess what they put Uncle Brian in? An 87 Chevrolet short wide bed with a goddamn Phantom Grill in it.
That is awesome.
It's like, you sons of bitches.
They heard the podcast.
But then, guess what? The hearse and the family cars were for the funeral.
What's that?
They were Lincolns, and I don't know about y'all, but in my book, that counts as a Ford, and I thought that shit was hilarious.
Oh, because he was a Chevy guy up to the core.
I said, so we're turning around and Steven was driving the 46 Chevrolet that we all learned how to build cars with, right? Mm-hmm. And Steven does this big old gnarly burnout in the middle of the street in front of everybody at the funeral home or at the church. Well, then all of a sudden the truck lunged forward and died. And I was like, he killed it, right? Well, he didn't kill it. It slung all the fucking belts off of itself. And we haven't driven across town to the graveyard yet. So, and all of us, we're like, whatever, it'll make it. It's been way hotter than that before. So, but we hop out, right? We're in the middle of the street. We got this whole block of Leonard, Texas, shut the fuck down for like 10 minutes trying to get all these cars to run, right? And, because they're Chevrolets, by the way. But anyway, while the Ford funeral cars were sitting there with the air conditioner on, not having no problems, I'm just saying. But we all walk out and we're looking at it, and I was like, y'all know why I did that, right? And they're like, no. And I pointed at the hearse and I went, because we're taking him to the graveyard in a fucking Ford. That was Lloyd. And everybody was like, oh shit. But we had a good time. We all did burnouts and stuff, and it was cool, man. The one that got away. So on that episode, we were talking, and we were talking muscle cars, and I brought it up for my dad. And actually, I had a chance to buy one, and I didn't, and I will never forgive myself because he would have been absolutely blown away if I'd have gotten it. 69 AMX, 390 4-speed car. That's the one that got away. If I could have bought one, I would have bought it for my dad. That's the epitome of a hot rod, man. That's a big block 4-speed car that's the size of a Volkswagen.
Yep.
They don't even have back seats.
My dad met my mom in a Javelin. That was the car he had when my mom and dad met.
My dad had a blue, I think it was like a 72 or 73 Javelin, and he wanted so bad for it to be an AMX, but it so wasn't. But it was cool. And when we had our shop, we actually did a rear end swap in one, and I drove it up and showed it to him because it was just cool, you know. So he's like, "Holy shit, you got one!" I was like, "No, I didn't get one.
Just borrowing it."
Yeah, I didn't get one. I'm just putting some miles on it, man. Yeah, I guess that's the one that got away. And then if it is one that I had, it's going to sound really stupid and uneventful for y'all. My 2015 GMC Sierra. If I really wish I wouldn't have traded that truck in. I really like that truck a lot. So pretty boring, but those are the two.
Hey,
I'm not even mad that I traded my. I'm not even mad that I traded my badass '67 Volkswagen for Clayton for a junior dragster one time, but I did. We put that bitch in the enclosed trailer and took it all the way to Houston to trade it for a junior dragster.
Hey, but that's family, man. That's tolerable.
Home, tore it apart, put about 20 grand in it. We took it to the racetrack, and he made like 6 passes in it and said, "Can we go home?" And I said, "The hell you mean, can we go home?" He's like, "I just want to go home." And I'm like, all right. So we get it loaded and we get in the truck. And for like the first 10 minutes, and I'm like, "What's the problem?" "Nothing." "What's the problem?" "Nothing." "Boy, I'm going to catch you and the car on fire. What the hell's going on?" And he goes, "I just want to focus on baseball." I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think I like baseball more." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I just gave up a really, really, really nice Volkswagen and spent a lot of money on your junior dragster. Bye, girls. Love y'all. My wife and daughter and adopted, she's not really adopted, but she might as well be adopted daughter leaving for tumbling. But he was like, "I just want to focus on baseball." And I was like, "All right, then I guess we're focusing on baseball." And I traded the junior dragster for a pretty kick-ass CJ7. I put a lift on it and some cool-ass tires and a new interior and all kinds, because Collins Brothers Jeep, not only is Dennis Collins a friend of mine, but Collins Brothers Jeep is 15 minutes from our house. And so I got everything from him and made a badass Jeep. Didn't make it stop leaking oil, got pissed off and sold it. No, I traded it for a 63 Chevrolet truck. Yep.
I was going to say that's a similar story to my dad, because my dad had a rail buggy and he traded it for a CJ7 and then traded that for a Belvedere and then a C10 and then a Malibu. Yeah. So I come from traders. So whenever you were talking about, you just see something, hey, we should trade. That's pretty much it. Look, that's what the world's missing now.
You could be dating and boning Jennifer Aniston, okay? But when you go to your kids' meet the teacher night and the math teacher's kind of hot, you're like, she's kind of hot. There's no different than driving a Lamborghini and thinking that a fucking Gremlin X is a cool car.
I love Gremlins.
I had a Gremlin X and a Hornet X, believe it or not. Just because they were random enough to be cool. And there was a time when I was younger that I was always a sucker for a clutch. Like if I saw something that was out of that era, I didn't care what it was, man. If it was a fucking V8 Fairmont, if it had a clutch, I was down. You know what I mean? And if it was a Nova with a 3 on the tree, I'm like, yeah, but I could put a floor shifter in it. It'd be cool. Like if it was a standard, I wanted it. Not so much anymore. I'll let my kid.
I was gonna say I got a 54 that's converted from 3 on a tree to the 5-speed on the floor.
Yeah.
As soon as the Model A is done, it'll be for sale or trade.
Oh, getting rid of the 54, huh?
Unless Ashley jumps on wanting to do something with it.
Ashley, you better kick him in the nuts and keep that car, girl.
I don't know. We've had it for a
I'm
while.
fixing to twist one on you. I'm fixing to twist one on you.
That's her. That's the thing, though.
You've ever asked her?
What's that?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So that's the thing, and her statement that she just said, like, we've had it for a while.
I get that. They get boring sometimes.
Well, it served its purpose. Like we're using it to go on our little cruises. We're using it to go on Sunday drives around town. Like that's what we're using. That's why we bought it. But now we're building something that's badass. So
think about it. Then you could add some badassery to your 54. You could throw one of your homegirls in the seat next to you and not be shoved in a Model A next to his big ass.
Well, I don't have friends.
You can find one or two.
I really
But I do have a question for Ashley because I don't know that I remember her answer when you guys first started recording.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
What the hell is your money's not an object vehicle?
Oh, shoot. I don't even know how to answer that. I'm not supposed to be asked these questions.
Oh, yeah, but this is Uncle Brian.
Yeah. What, remind me of the specific years.
63 to 66.
C10. But.
Well, hold on. Do you want a 60 to 63 or do you want a 64 to 66?
64 to 66. Well, 63 as the front end, the correct front end.
Yeah, but it's got the knee knocker windshield and torsion bars still.
63 has the.
Oh no, it's cold spring.
Yeah,
but it is a knee knocker windshield.
Yeah.
So do you want the wraparound windshield or do you want the flat windshield?
She likes she likes 60 to 66. That's not the problem. I'm telling her she's getting a 63 to 66.
All right, cool.
I give him, like, this is my idea. Now go find the specifics because I'm still learning all of this. But it's going to have to be slammed.
I don't know if you're familiar with Simple C10 on YouTube, Facebook, and all that. That's the type of truck that she wants. Fleet side.
Yes.
She doesn't like step sides.
No step sides.
Short or long bed?
Short. Always short. Long beds are too long.
I like a long bed, but I get it.
In certain scenarios, long beds are nice, but
yeah, I like a long bed. Proportionate if it's a slammed, but proportionally, I like a long bed if it's on the ground.
Yes.
Stock, no, it looks goofy as shit. But
long beds either have to be on the ground or 10 inches up.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yes.
All the way.
Keep going, baby. What's the next one?
Oh, what's the next one?
No question. Sorry.
Oh.
So what's the show or event you try to make every year?
Phew. Turkey drag for sure. Mostly because it's 30 minutes away and because it's a badass show and Ben Miller does a really good job of putting that show on. Hopefully this year I get to go act like a fool at that show. Maybe get up and do a little MCing or something, you know what I mean?
No.
But we only have been once so far because, well, it's not next year yet. And this year was the first time I went. I will 100% make it a point to go to DJ Mays' show, Relaxing in the Park, every year that I possibly can. Relaxing in the Park is a badass show, and Jason Babaglia, which DJ Mays, for those of you that don't know, is a killer fucking dude. And stay tuned for him to be on the Hometown Hot Rodder podcast soon. He kind of enjoyed our truth episode and wants to chime in a little bit. And he knows he can come use our platform to do whatever the hell he wants. So I will definitely make it to relax in the park anytime I can. And man, we bag on it a lot, but we only bag on it a lot because of the pushiness of some of the attendees. Invasion is a badass show, and it's a 30 minutes away from the house also. So Invasion's cool. As long as they stick to their rules, it's a cool show. But when they don't stick to their rules because they want the entry fee money, I get a little frustrated. But out of that, Invasion's a cool show. And then stay tuned. There's a little more info coming about Dragon Destroy Showdown. 2025, though. 2025, not 2024.
I hate that y'all had to cancel that, but I appreciate you giving me a little more time to get my Model A done.
Yeah. Well, so I guess I could roll into the big news I wanted to give if you're cool with that.
Go for it, man.
Speaking of Dragon Destroy Showdown, it's very likely, not guaranteed yet, so nobody get too shoved about it, because we still got a couple of little hurdles we got to clear. But we have cleared the first 3 racks, so we are getting somewhere. There is a very, very good chance that we'll be putting up a "we have moved" sign, or so to speak. You know how when let's say the Dollar General outgrows the building that it's in, and they have to move it to another location, and there's a sign that says "we have moved," right? And you go to that new address with the finger pointing in that direction, you know what I mean? And it says "new home of the Dollar General," right?
Yep. Well,
there's a pretty good chance, boys and girls, that Redline Raceway will be moving to 7 Points, Texas very soon.
Really?
Yeah. So, we are. I'm just gonna tell everybody, because maybe everybody will reach out to Daniel and be like, "Hey, bro, whatever it takes, make it happen, Captain." We're trying to come up with some arrangements that work in everybody's favor, and for me and Brooke to take over operations at Cedar Creek Dragway in Hemp/7 Points, Texas. And the cool thing is I own the Redline Raceway name and the LLC for it. So just to be a straight up McAsshole, I'm renaming that bitch Redline Raceway if I get it. So and our very first event, our grand opening event, will be 4 months into the new year, but we're going to save it for that. We're going to plan on doing a no prep race Easter weekend, beginning Good Friday, and it's going to be called Resurrection Day at Redline Raceway.
Hell yeah.
So newsflash, yes, it's been a year today, as a matter of fact, since we were so rudely shown the door, or the gate, so to speak, at Redline Raceway. Fuck you, Adcock. Been a year of the day. So I will announce that it is on its way to happening. I was hoping that it would be a done deal by today so that we could announce for real announce it. But it is what it is. I can announce that we are trying to get it. And if it doesn't work out, nobody send hate mail or death threats to Daniel. If it doesn't work for everybody, then we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It has to work for everybody so that we don't have to worry about the bullshit that happened with Redline. The OG Redline. Fuck that place.
Yes.
Fuck that.
I give everybody, show promoters, track promoters, all that. I give y'all a big shout out, because trying to put together our year, we're not even doing a show, we're just doing a gathering, but getting someone to accept cars has been a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
I didn't hear that far down the line.
Nope. But we are in talks, and I hope it's a car destination. So if we can get that, I'm not saying the name because I don't want to jinx it.
I don't. Hey man, I'm the king of suspense, baby.
But if he if we can't get it done at his location, there may be a special guest at one of our monthly cruises.
Oh.
So,
all right, I'm down to hear about this later. So with that said, if we get it, I will be pushing Mike Ross really hard for us to quit trying to wait on certain places to open up for us, and we will have Drag and Destroy Showdown with a drag strip with attached like it was supposed to be. And this all started, these talks back up. These talks started a year ago tomorrow when Daniel and I started talking about it, and we were going to get Cedar Creek Dragway, and I just wasn't in the headspace for it at the time. I came home and I'm like, I'm getting that fucking racetrack. I'm going to show everybody they can all eat a dick and blah, blah, blah. I was mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Brooke was like, listen, if you go get that track right now, it's out of spite.
Yeah, you got to get right before you can go make it. Cause
yeah,
especially when you're running a business, you got to do what's best for the business, not necessarily what's the petty move.
Yeah. She said, you're going to go all hometown hot rodder on every single person that says anything negative, and it's not going to be a good look. And you worked too hard to make a family atmosphere out of Redline, and you're going to ruin it if you go get that track right now. You don't need to get it. So I concurred, and we spent the last year not having a racetrack, and I really like having a racetrack. So Chuck Stanfill and I from Cheater Slick Culture, we were talking. I went to his house to hang out. We went and had some badass hamburgers and look at the Model T that he's about to build me if I go forward with that deal. But there's a lot of really cool people that are going to help work on that car. So I really do want to build that car, and it's not going to be that much money. So that may happen before the Baja. But we were talking. I was like, man, you want to do another Freedom Drags? Chuck and I put on, and Zach Parks from Wired Customs. He came down to Dallas, and the three of us put on Freedom Drags last year at Redline Raceway. Mm-hmm. And it was so badass. It was such a cool nostalgia drag race. And we had people from Missouri, Oregon, New York. I mean, there were people from everywhere that came to that race, and it was dope. And so I was like, you want to do another Freedom Drags type race? And he's like, hell yeah. I said, cool, let's make a phone call. And so right then in Chuck's living room, I called Daniel. I was like, hey, I need to ask you a question. I was like, man, we did a really cool nostalgia race last year. And he goes, yeah, I remember. And I was like, he goes, I actually closed for that one because I knew it was going to be packed and nobody would be here. So I was like, well, we kind of want to have it at your place because it has to have the right backdrop, dude. It's got to be a nostalgia type atmosphere. It's got to be a vintage type racetrack. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be some big fancy conglomerate because it just takes away from the coolness of it, you know? And he was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And so a little more in the conversation, he goes, so do you miss it yet? I said, man, I miss having a racetrack. I just don't know that I miss having that racetrack. And he goes, well, there's still one with your name on it if you're still interested in talking. I said, well, let's talk. And he goes, okay, let's talk. So that's where we're at. I have a little file saved here on my computer of some options that I have in mind for it to be right for everybody. So he and I are going to get together here the next day or two and see what we can't make happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Lord
That'd
knows.
be cool, man.
And it seems like he did a good job of running the track currently, because a track that is willing to shut down when they know that it's going to benefit another track.
We did it a lot.
You know, that's how it all should be. You know, that's why it's been so hard for us to set up a show, because we originally wanted to do it on the third Sunday because that's when we do the cruise. So we were just going to make it like, oh, the January cruise was going to be our big gathering, and there's a giant mini truck show or custom truck show that same weekend in Daytona. And I'm
Slam
like,
Fest?
No, the Eastbound Get Down.
Oh, Eastbound Get Down. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, so it was like, let's not try to compete with that, because we do have hot rods, we do have mini trucks, you know, we have everybody. We even have lifted trucks on big wheels with little rubber band mud tires.
Well, whatever.
But they dig it.
Motherfuckers work great, and motherfuckers work great in a Cleachy driveway after a good rain. Anyway.
So, but you know, so we don't want to piggyback. One, obviously we're the small game there. But we don't even want to piggyback on somebody else that's trying to get started. We don't want to, I don't care if there's a California show the same day, but 2 hours away from each other, let's not try to make people pick.
That's why Mike Ross did such a good job, because I'm the fuck 'em guy. I'm the fuck 'em. We're having our show. They can go to that one if they want, or they can come to ours if they want, whichever one makes sense for them to go to. I don't give a shit. Mike has a little more level head than I do with that kind of thing. And he did a really good job of finding a weekend that wasn't inundated with a bunch of other big shows. Because Dragon Destroy Showdown is focused on mini trucks primarily, but it is open to anything. But it is a very, very mini truck vibe. Yes. So he made sure to find a weekend that was the least intrusive. So, and that's tough in Texas, dude, because we have a lot of big fucking shows. Yes, y'all do. But when it comes to the racing, look, man, everybody that owns one of these places, it's and let me go ahead and clear some up for the internet now, so that the rumors don't start off of your show. You can be a business owner and not own the property in which you do business. Okay, definitely. Because with Redline Raceway, when Fuckhead found out that I said I was the owner, he got all butthurt and his balls felt shriveled up, and he felt like he had to flex his dick muscles around a little bit and tell everybody, he don't own this fucking place, I do. No, asshole. I own the business and rent the property from you to conduct business in. That's how that works. You can, that's how 90% of the businesses work. Yeah, the owner of Dollar General don't own all the buildings that the store's in. The owner of AutoZone don't own all the AutoZones. You know what I'm saying? They just built an AutoZone across the street from my house, and the dudes that own the Shell station own that property, right? AutoZone built to suit and is leasing the property. That's how that fucking works. So if we get Cedar Creek and we rename it Redline, no, we didn't buy the fucking racetrack, but yes, I own Redline Raceway. Let's just get that out in the open. Yes. Fuckers. Anyway. That's the whole trick, man. When you own a racetrack, dude, everybody's got a big ass nut to pay every month. Okay. Oh yeah. It's a lot. I mean, it's anywhere from $15,000 to $35,000 a month just to keep the fucking gates open and make sure the lights come on when you hit the switch. Okay. So, and then you got to put in track maintenance money, glue money, tractor money, diesel money, employee money for the gate, the concession stand, the kids to run the racetrack, a manager to handle everything, somebody on the starting line. Like, everybody's got to make money. Yeah. So closing just because the other tracks are doing a race, I disagree with. However, if a comparable event is happening at another track, I'm 1,000,000% down with either shutting down or doing something completely unrelated to what that track's doing, right? Because you need to be open and you need to have people coming in your gates. Otherwise, you're going in your fucking piggy bank to pay the rent that month. Okay? Well, and that's the thing. So, we have a lot of asphalt, or we have a lot of circle track stuff like right close by us. And I've always wondered, like, they'll all run 4 cylinders the same weekend. And it's like, if y'all got together, like, y'all all talk. If you just got together and went, okay, the first weekend of the month, I'm going to run 4 cylinders. Next month, I'm going to run this. You're going to have some overlap of classes, but you're not trying to have somebody that's in the middle of your 2 racetracks deciding, well, do I want to go to Citrus or do I want to go to Auburndale? So, like, for us, like, Harris Drag Strip does a thing called Camp Wars every year. And what Camp Wars is it's people from different camps, meaning not clubs, but different camps in drag racing, right? Yeah. So like Robert Botello and his group. So Cody Folsom, Street Outlaws, and all the guys, the Blue Waffle and all those dudes that are under the Botello banner, they all go and they face up against people from Oklahoma City, right? Mm-hmm. And HPP Racing, my friend Manny Alvarez, the HPP camp, there's camps, right? Yeah. So it's all the people that they build and tune these cars together. You know what I mean? So it's like car clubs, but fast. So then, like Paris Drag Strip would have Camp Wars. Okay, well, I had a thing called the Dirty 30 list, right? Well, my list guys, all of them were going to go to Camp Wars. So what did I do? Well, we're not going to do list racing this weekend. Anybody that's going to Camp Wars, your positions are safe. We're not list racing this week. Y'all go kick ass at Camp Wars and represent, right?
Yeah.
But we're still going to do test and tune so that the kids in town can come race and we can make some money.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And then the same thing, like Cedar Creek, Daniel, he had JJ the Boss out for an arm drop race. Well, I knew for a fact that anybody within driving distance was going to go at least watch it, if not run in it. Right.
Yeah.
So we didn't open. I gave everybody the night off and told them, go enjoy JJ the Boss's race.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all take the night off. If you want to go to Cedar Creek and watch that, go have a blast. I'm not going because I don't want to deal with that many fucking people. So y'all go. I'm going to sit at home with my fat ass and watch SVU reruns. And then, but at the same time, so like if XRP, which is our really nice 8th mile track, Extreme Raceway Park, that track is badass, and they have one of the fastest radial racing surfaces in the country. Plenty of 370 passes on that track. So almost nothing that we ever did interfered with what they were doing, right? In my mind, we can't compete with that track. We ain't going to be that track. I'm not spending that kind of money to try to be that track. So we're going to have our shit. If y'all want to go there and you're closer, cool, go there. If you want to come to Redline and because you're closer, then come to Redline. I'm not closing for them having a radial race. We don't do radial races, so have fun.
It's y'all aren't fighting each other. And sidebar,
in my mind,
Florida has the best radial track, by the way.
Man, yeah, that's a toss up between South Georgia Motorsports.
I was going to say South Georgia Motorsports Park and Bradenton, which happens to be the same people that put it on. So,
but XRP is building a pretty quick name for itself.
Oh yeah,
as a radial track. But
Texas Texas. I'll give Texas. Texas has got some fast cars.
And here's the deal.
Y'all have a lot of fast camps, Midnight Performance. Those guys they're ridiculous.
Yeah, like if you have a 4.0 car, I'm going to tell you that you're probably not going to get down my track. So don't even bother coming to test it here, because you're going to come test it. Your shit's not going to hook, and you're going to talk trash about my track. My track ain't built for your car.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I'll take your $50, but you're going to be pissed off because your shit's not going to work. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then you're going to tell everybody my track sucks. Well, my track doesn't suck. You just can't build a car where you know how to fucking pull power out of it to get down a surface. That ain't my fault. That's your fault. That's your tuner's fault.
This isn't the track you come try to lay down your fastest pass ever. This is the one that you come test on.
My good friends, Manny Alvarez, Chris Varney, Eric Bain. These are all names that everybody knows from TV, right? Mm-hmm. They could all come to my track and get down it like nobody's business and run 200 miles an hour.
Yep.
So I don't want to hear that you can't get down it in your 7-second car. That's your fucking fault, first of all. And you probably shouldn't be trying to drag race a CTSV Cadillac, faggot. That car was built to go really fast in town, going to pick the kids up from tumbling.
Hey, let's not pick on the CTSV.
They're fast, but they shouldn't be drag racing.
There's
not
one.
Out of the box.
There's
not
one.
Out of the box. Not out of the box.
True story. There ain't much Cadillac left in that car, but
yeah, thank you.
Cadillac
fast.
It do got a Cadillac body on top of it.
I'm sure you're talking about Caddy Jack, and Caddy Jack's a bad bitch. And those are close friends of mine. Caddy Jack is a bad bitch, but Caddy Jack ain't a fucking CTSV.
But what I like about that, and I'm not getting everybody that knows Caddy Jack knows whose car it came from. That's all that. And
Jackie's hot.
Yeah, well, that don't hurt.
I'm just saying.
But what I like about them, and you can say you don't like them, you can do whatever you want to do. But what I like about them,
you don't know them. That's because you don't know them.
Is they deal with their bullshit.
And it's also because you don't know them.
I don't have a problem with them.
No, I'm not talking about you. Everybody that thinks that they're assholes, or anybody that thinks Chris Varney's a prick or anything like that, them dudes are good dudes, man.
Yeah,
they're normal racers, but
well, people have to understand that that's a TV show first.
Yeah, same as a podcast.
Let
me tell you something, man. Me and Jimmy and Tanner are not exactly who everybody thinks we are through Hometown Hot Rodder. I am a dad, a husband, and a grandpa. And when the microphones are turned off, I am a dad, a husband, and a grandpa. I get googie over my granddaughters, and I let my daughter run over me like a sucker every fucking day. And here I'll talk shit about her, a little crazy ass blonde headed girl. we are just like on TV. We are putting on a different face when we do our show. I mean, I probably still make as many inappropriate comments as I do on the show, but maybe not quite as bad. So that was the whole premise behind HHR Unplugged. I don't know if you wanted to go there or not, but that was the whole thing behind that show, was taking the characters out of us and just focusing on the entertainment. And yeah, it bored the shit out of me. So,
well, and I mean, me, you, Jimmy, Ashley, we all talked about it whenever we first started. I mean, if we want to go back to episode 3, that was, y'all said, and it made me feel good because, we do, and we said at the beginning of this podcast, we do it different. Neither one's right. Neither one of them's wrong. Right. Y'all focus more on the entertainment side, where we try to get more to the roots of the car stuff. It doesn't matter. We're both trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to entertain with knowledge or funny or whatever it is. But y'all don't want to do the boring. Y'all don't want to just sit down and have a conversation that's this. Y'all want to throw the jokes in, and that's great. I've listened to every single episode of Hometown Hot Rodder that you've ever put out.
Oh, you poor bastard.
Matter of fact, I even went back and listened to number 1 just to see if we suck as bad as y'all did. No, and it gave me hope. Worse. It gave me hope.
Yeah, we suck way worse.
No, but also I had listened to all of y'all's episodes up to that point when we started this. So I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to try to do. And then y'all coming on and kind of showing us this and showing us everything, and kind of me and you've had off camera, off internet conversations about doing it correctly. And so a big shout out to y'all. Like, we appreciate the shit out of y'all, because who knows where we would have been.
Look, man, I told you in the beginning, Matt York helped us with a lot of things of getting started, the Custom Couple podcast, you know what I mean? And for reasons that don't need to be broadcast all over the planet, they haven't been doing, episodes of Custom Couple. But Matt taught me a lot and taught Jimmy a lot, you know what I mean? So when you popped up that you were doing a podcast, I was like, hey, man, whatever we can do to help you, let us know. Because, you got to pay it forward, Oh, yeah. And, the same thing with Rick's place. Rick Ratley's trying to get his show off the ground. A lot of that's my fault because I haven't had time to help him very much. But it's fallen under the Hometown Hot Rodder umbrella. So Chase Rains will be taking over HHR Unplugged, and it will be called Unplugged with Chase Rains. We got it going. We got it built. We proved to the world that fuck you, we can do it. We can grow up, and we can be adults, and we can knock into an industry that we're not in just because we want to, and you can eat shit for saying we couldn't. So that's what we did with HHR Unplugged. And we've gotten to do some cool stuff because of it. And it opened me up to something that I didn't even know I wanted to do, which is MC work and voiceover work. I didn't know I wanted to do that shit. And now I MC at least twice a month. I'm on a stage somewhere at least twice a month. And now I'm talking. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about that. Yeah, whatever. I'm talking with a pretty prominent animation company about doing some voice acting for them for an animated movie to be coming out next year.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
Cars 4.
So I can't say what it is, sir. But so that HHR Unplug opened us up for a lot of things that I didn't even know we wanted to do. You know what I mean? The acting thing for film is not dead. The writer's strike kind of screwed that deal up with Miss Candy Rains and her company, and she's having to play catch up with the shows and movies that she already had in the can. So once they're done with that, it's our turn. We're going to go do this sitcom in Georgia for them. We're still going to try it and see if we can do it.
Hell.
We might suck, but we might not. We're going to try it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, HHR Unplugged bores me to death. And I hate to say that, but it's too close to a script.
Yeah.
it's too close to rules. And I didn't start this show with Jimmy to have rules. I started this show with Jimmy because we were bored and we wanted to be jack-offs and do it about cars and comedy. So that's what we did, you know what I mean? And Hometown Hot Rodder was starting to suffer because of it. So the best way to do that was to find a badass musician that's funny as hell and plays great fucking tunes, that's on the radio and on the Texas country charts and loves to argue and can be a complete cocksucker when he wants to. So I consider him one of my best friends now, and that's Chase Raines. So I was like, hey, man, you want this show? And he goes, dude, I can't do anything with it till the end of the year. I'm like, so then start it back up at the end of the year, but I'm done with it for now. But we're creating almost like a radio station.
But again, that goes right back to the business side of things. If that's, as a businessman, you have to make the decisions that are best for your business. And
okay, next surprise.
And anyone that doesn't know that this is a business, I mean, you check my bank account.
Damn
Shit
right.
leaves out every day.
You damn right it's a business. So on to my last surprise, and then whatever else you want to ask me, I'm all yours.
All right.
We are creating a station, an internet radio station on radio.co.
Hell yeah.
We just got to get about 16 hours worth of content that we can put through every day, and then we'll add a music playlist to it for the rest of the day until we get more shows. What I'm doing with it, and this is something that this is a surprise to the two of you. This is why I saved it for now. What I'm doing with it is I am going to create a business platform out of it. And there's already 3 shows, if you think about it. There's Hometown Hot Rodder, there's Unplugged with Chase Raines, and there's Rick's Place. Okay? Trying to add some shows, and I would like to invite you guys to at least have a conversation about Hot Rod Hangout becoming part of this roster on our radio.co station. What that's going to do is that I'm really good at marketing, and I'm really good at promoting, and I'm really good at kissing ass to get advertisers. So just like anybody that has a radio station under iHeartRadio or Clear Channel Communications or PBS or whatever, the mothership goes and gets advertisers, right? Mm-hmm. And then those advertisers get divvied out to everybody. They get promoted on everybody's TV show or radio show, right? And everybody gets a little bit of perk from that deal. If there's equipment that needs to be bought, if there's a show that needs to be attended, if there's something, it can at least put a little bit of money towards that for that show, right? And also it will provide, anytime people want to go listen to their favorite podcast because anything that we pick doesn't suck, then they can go to our radio.co station, which I'm not ready to give out the call letters for yet, but they can go to our station and they can go listen to whatever podcast they want to listen to. And they can listen to podcasts for 24 hours a day on our station while they're driving the fucking snowman's 18-wheeler across country, or
yeah.
while they're sitting on a forklift in a plant. Because what that's also going to do is it's going to create a negotiation between me and the hosts of all the shows of revenue going both ways. You know what I'm saying? So the show brings in revenue. A certain part goes to the business. A certain part goes to the cast. Every DJ on a radio station gets paid for the advertisements that they do. They get paid for every spot that they record. They get paid for everybody that they bring in, but so does the station. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because that money goes somewhere, and there's a revenue thing to it. So I am inviting you guys to at least have a conversation at some point about putting Hot Rod Hangout on our radio station.
Well, we are definitely at least interested in having that conversation with you.
I don't, because that spreads the word for everybody. It spreads the cash for everybody, and it gives everybody a home to where you don't have to deal with hosting sites quite as much.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for the possibility of a Cheater Slick Culture / Rod and Style podcast. What?
All right.
What? Anyway, next question, please.
So we talked about events that you try to make every year, but what's an event that you've never been to that you'd like to go to? Besides the hangout, you know, of course you want to come check out that show.
Scraping the Coast. I want to check out Scraping the Coast, and I want to check out Trog.
I have mixed emotions on Trog.
just want to say I went.
Yes.
I was supposed to go last year with Zach. It just didn't work out. So I have not let you off the hook yet, Zach Parks. I still want to go to Trog. And you and I and Chuck are still supposed to be having a conversation about something else if it's still happening. But anyway, a Trogish type event.
So the gentleman that I bought my 32 from actually got accepted to Trog with his Roadster.
Rock and roll. That's dope.
And that
is super fucking cool.
And I know that the person, I'm not going to mention him by name. It is 2024, but we're not going to say names on this one. Okay. That idea of having 4 or 5 of us come out to your house and build a hot rod together for a week.
Oh, yeah. This is sound like Ken Sainer.
I mean, he may have a $60,000 Model A that also in his shed.
He do. It almost became my car. So, I mean, he does have a $60,000 something that I know of. Anyway.
But yes, I'm still game if y'all are.
Yeah, we're always down for that deal. And, look, man, doing things together and working together is what's going to save this fucking hobby in this country.
Well, competition's at the bottom. I mean,
absolutely. 100%, man. There's not competition. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude, I gave you my whole playbook. You know what I mean? I mean, like that's not even an option. You are never going to be us. We are never going to be you. Mm-mm. You know what I'm saying? We are never going to be Lane and Sam because they were the OGs of it. You know what I mean? They were the OGs of comedic car podcast. And I would never try to say we're better. I would never try to compete.
And even if we did the exact same style of podcast, yours is going to be different than ours. You're in Texas.
100%. You're
closer to the West Coast. Y'all have shows every fucking weekend for every genre of car. Mm-hmm. Florida is different. The East Coast is different than the West Coast. I mean, you could have 2 awesome builders you could have one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast, give them the same exact car and tell them to build the same car, and it's not going to look anything alike.
Speaking of TV, I also have been asked to be part of the design team for something similar to what you're talking about. So,
jeez,
I got all kinds of things coming up that y'all know about. Somebody thinks I can design cars. That's cool. So, but you're right. And so why compete? There is no compete.
There isn't.
No, we can talk shit about each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. If it's all fun and games talking shit, let's talk shit. I'm down. Matt, you're retarded for selling that Mercury, by the way. Yeah, Lane, York.
Yeah,
Matt York. Sorry, not you, Matt.
No,
Matt.
I did share that post though.
Yeah, 16 G's. That's cheap, boy.
That's why I shared it.
Yeah, it's a good deal. That's a badass car with a history. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've sold shit I shouldn't have sold. You know what I mean? So I get it.
And there's a reason there's a reason he's selling it. I mean, I don't know the reason, but there's a reason. There's something in his head that's, causing that to sell.
That's what's cool about cars, man. It's not going away. It's going to its next chapter.
Oh,
it's going to the next person to put their touch on it.
Speaking of that, did you see the Foose video where they found the Burris, was it a 53? What was it? A 53 Oldsmobile?
No.
They found this car that's been in this garage for like 50 years.
And Paris built?
Yes.
Okay.
And it is dirty. It's the 53 Oldsmobile. They painted the whole engine compartment gold. And it's got pinstriping and everything. It's a badass car. And Foose was there. And they were like, oh yeah, we were going to restore it. And he's like, no, you don't restore this car. This is not one you restore.
Wash it.
He said, you wash it. And because if you try to restore it, it's your interpretation of what they did. He says, wash it. This is the last hands that touched it was George Burris.
Yeah, that's like when Gas Monkey redid Crew Cut.
And it's been redone since
it's cool. It's cool, but it wasn't.
No.
I've seen it at several shows, and it's not the same truck, but it's good. It's dope. Don't get me wrong, but there's no way you redo a Barris build ever, or a Winfield build.
No,
and you and I had talked about Gene the other day. You know what I mean? And Gene's a character, boy. He's a good fucking dude, but he is a character. Gene is the reason we go to Starbird to see. Well, him and Kent. We go see Kent. Kent's Customs in Virginia. We go see him and AJ. And other than that, it's to see Gene for a couple hours. Last time I had to make a run to go buy Gene Winfield Rolaids because he had heartburn. So Kent Rentenberry called me and goes, "Hey, where you at?" I was like, "In the motorhome." He goes, "Well, before you walk from the motorhome to the show, can you run to CVS and get Gene some Rolaids?" I said, "Yep, we'll go get them right now." So I got him chewables because I didn't know if his teethers were real or not.
But that's the thing, and a lot of those guys that you meet are normal car guys. I mean, they're highly, highly talented, but they just want to have a conversation. They don't, man, it's not a thing.
One time, Gene goes, "I don't even know if I really like you that much." And I was like, "Okay." And I said, "Why not?" And he goes, "We've talked for days." I said, "We've talked for hours, different days, but I see what you're saying." And he goes, "You've not one time asked me to come on your podcast." I said, "I'm not gonna." He said, "What?" I was like, "I'm not going to." I was like, "I'm not going to do a 20-question interview with you like everybody else has and share it with the whole world. These conversations are for me and my son and Ken Sainer to hang out and talk to Gene Winfield. I don't give a shit about you being on the podcast for this. This is my fucking memory, and the same thing with Voodoo Larry. We talk literally all the time. Like, we text each other some of the most outlandish pictures and shit all the time. And Voodoo Larry is one of the coolest, classiest cats you'll ever meet. And we are going to go hang out with him in Chicago. We are going to do that because why wouldn't you? Because you can go get a real Portillo's because Portillo's in Texas sucks. But also because Voodoo Larry's cool. But those are just dudes that we've become friends with. Same with Street Outlaws guys, man. They're all my buddies. You know what I mean? I'm not going to exploit them on these shows. We're going to hang out and do shit that we probably shouldn't do, I'm not going to say that me and a couple other Street Outlaws guys were at Chip Cox's house for a birthday party running down the road naked one night, but there might have been. But, that's shit that you can't talk about because they got people, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But that's just buddies being buddies and letting go of not having to deal with the public for a minute, Oh,
and that's a lot of it is people have gotten, and it's the internet. Everyone has a camera in their pocket. Everyone's looking for a come up. And when you can get a group of guys together, guys and gals together, and
don't exploit that from each other. And
it's just a hangout. No one's looking for anything out of the other person.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Jason Cantu told me when we had Redline, he said, "Dude, I like coming out here because you treat us right, but you don't treat us any different than you do anybody else." He's like, "I literally have to fucking walk half a mile to the bathroom because you don't give me a special parking spot." I'm like, "Bitch, you got a golf cart. Drive it to the bathroom." You know what I mean? Like, I gave you one with electricity. Shut the fuck up. So, and now when Manny brought his No Prep Kings car, when he brought that one, that's a fucking $500,000 car. So he did get a little special treatment, and he got to pit in the shop at the starting line of the track so that people weren't climbing all over his fucking car.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, that's a $500,000 car. It was an NPK car, not the Street Outlaws street car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was a
different car. Leatherface, when Leatherface was at the track, we gave him the shop. You know what I mean? So Varney came during the week. Nobody else was there. Anytime he came by it's a 3.5 hour trip for him. So anytime he came, it was during the week, during the day. David Bird Jones, same thing, came during the week at night. It was supposed to be during the day, but he burned up all their electricity. But anyway, but they all came at different times of day because I didn't want the whole world to know they were there because they were there for a reason.
Yeah.
Manny needed to get his NPK car ironed out, so he came during Dirty 30 list race night. So keeping people away from him, not happening.
Yeah.
But keeping him off of his car, no problem, because I had two of mine and Ken Sainer's cars in the same shop that I didn't want people climbing all over either. Then I look up and Manny's guys are using both of them for fucking shelves. So, and that's cool. I sat my fucking Coke on the spoiler of that goddamn Mustang. He's like, "What are you doing?" I went, "Turnabout's fair play, bitch." I pointed at the Mercury, and he goes, "Oh, damn." I said, "Now I'll pick my Coke up."
Not on the carbon fiber.
Yeah, I called Manny the other day and told him about this whole Cedar Creek extravaganza, and he goes, "Fucking right, dude." That's all he said. That was it. That was the conversation. So I said, "Should I do it?" And he goes, "Does a fat dog fart?" I said, "Yeah, it do." So, but yeah. What else?
What you working on?
A buzz right now.
I know you got cars tucked away.
Dude, I'm going to be dead honest with you, man. I really don't have anything special that we're working on. However, that said, I made a mention on the show the other day that the Lexus hit 100,000 miles and it's time to make it cool. Time to make it not the other 7 that are in our neighborhood. The same color, the same wheels, the same grill. I'm pretty sure the same bird shit stains on them in the same spots. They look identical. So it is time to make the Lexus stand out a little bit.
So we're keeping the Lexus now?
Huh?
Yeah, keeping
Lexus
the Lexus
is staying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lexus is staying. Brooke and I talked, and there's literally no reason to get rid of that car. It's fun to drive. It's fairly quick. It corners okay for what it is at the moment, and it gets 30 miles a gallon all at the same time. So, and it's got paddle shifters. I'm just kidding. I just ordered coilovers for it. I just ordered anything for the suspension that's adjustable is on its way. We're going to make it a touring car. So Clayton wants to make his car more of an autocross, hard in the corners. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Lexus is not a 6-speed car. It's an automatic. It does have paddles, so you can autocross it and you can control the gears fairly well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want that car to be 160 miles an hour for 5 hours traveling across country. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to build a ass hauling cool car. So, it's getting wrapped. Brain fart. It's getting wrapped matte olive drab. It's going to be army green.
Okay.
With some carbon bits here and there, and some bright colors in places that it would be with checkered flag shit where it would be on an old fighter plane type of deal, kind of. Not gaudy, but small enough for somebody to go, "Hey," you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Any of the club decals or any other decals will be redone in a stencil font so it looks like a military deal. Making it's all going to be suspension. We'll probably do some exhaust to it just because cool and quiet are weird together. It's got to at least make a little noise, and it's a 250, so it's got the actual Lexus motor, so they sound really, really cool when they're opened up a little bit. They don't sound buzzy. They sound a little more F1-y, to be honest with you. And some interior bits. Put some subs in it so that we can travel and beat our brains to death the whole trip. You know what I mean? So I don't really know that counts as working on something, but it kind of does. I mean, it is being completely altered.
There's another car that you failed to mention, and I know you still got it. It's just sitting in the corner,
not
neglected.
Wait, are you? I don't know if we need to talk about what I think we're talking about.
That box of Nikes over there in the corner.
What?
Shoebox.
I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to talk about that because its fate is undetermined.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we're going to leave. We're going to table that.
Okay, we'll circle back.
Yeah,
at another time.
All right,
for episode 75.
Okay, I'll hold you to it.
I was going to say episode 100, but 75 weeks.
We'll circle back. Hey,
right.
Small goals, girls. Hey. Small goals.
I was going to say we might make it to 51.
Might. We already got content.
we quit numbering. You're not going to bust this up, are you?
No. No, this is going to be 50.
Y'all got to go hometown hot rodder on this bitch and put the whole motherfucker out at one time.
We are.
Boom.
We are.
You know what today is? It's August 1st. You know what that means? That means I can get back to putting old hometown hot rodder episodes on Podbean for the month. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear about that?
No.
What?
So we were using Buzzsprout, right?
Right.
For 4 years. Well, I decided to go to Podbean because somebody told me to look into it. I looked into it. She wasn't wrong. It was great. The AI is unfucking real, and the ability to do mobile podcasting from your phone is awesome. Hence the microphones that I was going to use tonight. But I started dumping hometown hot rodder episodes over to my Podbean deal with a new RSS feed to kind of go with the radio station vibe because all shows are going to that one show now, right?
Right.
I get a notification about 2 weeks ago that I can't upload any more content for the month because it's unfair to other shows in our category to upload that many episodes at a time.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, Blue Ribbon Society, buddy.
Okay.
So I was grounded until today to be able to start uploading episodes. So I think we were up to like 93 or 94.
So you're just going to dump another 90 tomorrow?
Of the 200 or whatever it is. No, because I got to be able to leave room for new shows.
Oh.
Yeah.
So when we
75.
When we did the episode for Lloyd, I had to release it on Buzzsprout under the old hometown hot rodder deal so that people could hear it.
Oh.
So I got to move it over to the Podbean side for one, but also I've still got 140 something fucking episodes of OG to put on the new side. So, I can only.
All right. So if we're going to move to Buzzsprout, we need to do it now.
Buzzsprout is the way to go. Buzzsprout, I say that, man. Podbean offers a lot more stuff.
Podbean, rather. I had it backwards.
However, it's pretty funny how, with the new title and the new RSS feed for ours, the downloads dropped a lot. They're still good, right? But I dumped this one lone episode about Lloyd on Hometown Hot Rodder. You know what I mean? On the Buzzsprout, the RSS feed, okay? And that fucking thing's already at 1,300 downloads.
Jeez.
So, you're like, man, I'm just moving everything back.
So, how we tabled that conversation, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But
well, that can be part of our other conversations to where it doesn't make a shit anymore.
Yeah. That would
so it'd be radios.
That's what makes that so appealing. Or one reason that makes that appealing.
There could be some good shit in that deal. So, and we don't have to talk about it today or tomorrow or anything, man. That's a long drawn out process. We'll work on it as it's time.
We'll talk it out. So, what's one piece of advice you'd give somebody trying to get into this car culture?
Which part of the car culture?
Like they want to be in the cars. They weren't raised in it.
So they're driving a Ford Focus to work. They've been
fart can exhaust
their whole life.
Yep.
And all of a sudden they've decided, I'm talking bone stock. And so now all of a sudden they've decided that they too would like to have a hairy chest and a set of balls and get into the car world.
Exactly.
And they don't like the fact that they have a savings account and they would like to deplete that.
Exactly. Because you should spend every single dime you have on cars.
One piece of advice about hot rods is the same advice that I give newly married couples about kids. If you wait until you can afford it, you'll never do it.
Very good.
That's so true.
That was Confucius right there.
That's where I'm going with that. And it really doesn't need to be that much more upset about it.
Yes.
If you wait until you can afford it, wait until you can afford it, you'll never do it.
Yep.
If you want it bad enough, fucking do it and figure out how to pay for it. Because if you wait until you can afford it, you'll never do it.
Jeez.
That might be top. That's definitely top 3 out of 50 of advice.
I didn't know Uncle Brian.
Way to go, Uncle Brian.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah, Uncle Brian could be cereal. Yep, that's all I got. And it's a tough one because that's a problem that Brooke and I have faced for 21 years of why are you doing this? We can't afford it. Well, if we wait till we can afford it, you'll get new furniture.
It's true.
If we wait till we can afford it, you'll book a fucking cruise.
Yep.
Whereas if I just start playing with the car, you're still gonna find a way to book that cruise, and we're both fucking happy.
Pretty much, yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Well, I'll take a minute to recap the Model A. So the Model A is get it currently. I dropped off the front cross member to him tonight, and it was currently getting a floor and a firewall. So
that we're supposed to giggle.
So that'll be, and then the motor is together. No, there is no body work on that car. He did a little bit, but
sorry, dude.
We cut that out. We had to nip that in the butt.
I'm sorry. Keep talking.
The way my bank account's set up is we can't afford body work at the current time. But Zach Parks, yes, it's getting chopped eventually. Just throwing that out there. Every time I post about it, you send me scissors. I understand it needs to be chopped. I get it. It also needs to drive first.
Zach could offer a sponsorship and chop that bitch for a sponsorship.
He could. Still got to be driving first, though. Because that car has to be... That car... That's what we talked about with the deadline shit. That car has to be a Daytona.
Uncle Brian's not too proud to say shit like that.
So, cross members in. We got everything mounted on the motor. Primed. Ready to go whenever he's ready to set the motor in. And then I can get the body back over here and we can start doing what little body work it's going to get.
Yep.
And then the chassis can come back and we can tear it all back apart and redo everything again to paint it and all of that. So that's... Oh, the tires came tonight. The wheels are coming tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
That was fast on tires. I ordered them yesterday and they came at 10:30 this
shout
morning.
out to Tire Rack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Tire Rack don't fucks around.
No, they don't.
She ordered them at like 10 o'clock and they were here this morning by like 11.
Dude, I've ordered parts from Tire Rack before I had time to tell Brooke that I did it, and the shit showed up before I got home the next day, and she's like, hey, look what I got today. And I'm like, they're cool though, right?
They came with a sticker.
Yeah, you can have the sticker, babe.
I bought a sticker and it come with tires.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got another reverse interview question.
Okay, what's up?
And it's another one for Ashley.
Oh, shoot.
Oh boy.
Ashley?
Yes.
You got tall shoes to fill here.
Oh no.
What advice would you give a hot rodder's better half that really wasn't a hot rodder until she met her other half?
Oh my. Well, I guess I can only base it off of you, so I'm sorry in advance.
Well,
he can't get mad at anything you say because you're giving other women advice.
Just don't take it personal. And I'm sure they would know what I mean by that, but like, I now understand it after 4 years of being with him. When you're out there and you're working on something, that's therapy for both of us now. Like, I need to go out there and wrench on something if I'm having a bad day. That's both of us now. But when we first started, I didn't understand why he would get so frustrated at certain things. And I would take it personally, like I did something wrong. And it's like, I didn't even touch what he's working on. So why am I taking it personally? And now I'm like, he backs away from me because I'm getting frustrated at something, or he'll just come and grab the tool out of my hand very quietly. But just don't take things personally. You're out there to let off steam. That is one of the benefits of this, is you're letting off steam. So I think that'd be my advice.
Good job, girl. Good job.
I'm not supposed to be the one getting asked questions.
I know, that's why I did it. Matt.
Yes.
See, I feel like this way I get to ask you guys some things for your listeners to hear, right?
Yeah.
You ask everybody all the time. And I know your background and why you're into cars as much as you are, and I know how close you are to your dad, and that's all fucking cool. your style of car, your style of build, your interest in vehicles. And I'm not, don't take this the wrong way, but it's something I want to know because it's like a little research project. Remember, I was talking earlier about what Clayton came home and told me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your taste in hot rods and in cars in general, is it because it was the taste that you grew up with your dad, or is it really your own taste that you developed on your own?
So absolutely the opposite. I have
two different ones.
So
I asked north or south, and now you're going east.
So no. So growing up, you know, for anybody that listens to this that doesn't know, I grew up on a Midway. My mom and dad were in the carnival business. So the first 5 years of my life was spent on a Midway. So my dad had bikes. Obviously, I was too young to remember. Four-wheelers, we grew up in the sticks, so four-wheelers, dirt bikes, stuff like that. And my dad did rail buggies. He did sand. He did sand drags. Sand drag turned into a mud hole, so they just put Mickeys and went next door to the drag strip and raced other four-cylinders, and then that got traded. He traded it for a CJ7, did the off-road stuff for a little while, then classic cars. There was a Belvedere in there. There was a 68 Stepside, and then he traded that for a Malibu. And then, as any car guy understands, family man, you have to do what's required to provide for your family. So that car got traded for something better on gas because he started working away. My dad has always been a muscle car, 60s era kind of guy. I like 60s muscle cars, but I prefer 20s and 30s.
That's what I figured was the deal with you.
But I also dig the 50s style of like 50s Mercs, Plymouths, the 54 sometimes.
The face only a mother could love.
You know, and I can appreciate everything, and that's kind of why the main basis, and I think me and you have talked about this, that's why I wanted to start this, was because you don't have to pigeonhole yourself to, oh, I'm only a Model A guy. You know, if a 68 Camaro rolls by, I'm going to go chase him down and look at his car just the same as if a 2024 C8 Corvette drives by. I'm going to go look at his car too.
Oh, son of a bitch. Go ahead and finish your story, and then I'll remind me to
All right.
Go back to that.
So, you know, I can appreciate everybody's style. And again, your piss off the internet episode, a lot of that held true to me because I might not like it, but it's not my car.
Sure.
So, and a good for instance of that is the Model A. When I bought the Model A, as soon as it was coming home, it was, I'm gonna lay it on its ass. It's gonna have a small block Chevrolet. If I can afford a blower, I'm gonna put a blower on it. If it's you know, I had that build in my head. And then, in no fault of anyone else but mine, I started listening to people, and they're like, oh, it's got to have a 32. My dad bought the 34 truck, and, you know, it's got to have a 30. Why doesn't it have a 32 grill? Well, because it doesn't. It's got a Model A grill. You know,
it's not a 32.
Why is that? You know, why does it this? Why? Oh, you have a hood, and I give him shit about his hood. But honestly speaking, on that truck, it looks good. I'm not a hood guy, but on that truck, it looks good. Yes, I give him shit and tell him, hey, it would be way easier to work on this if the hood was gone. But it's his truck. You know, it had white walls on it. I'm not a big fan of white walls. It looked decent on his truck. He wasn't a fan. So when he replaced the rims and tires, Coker tires suck, by the way. When he replaced the tires, he put black walls on it. Truck looks amazing. I'm not telling him how to do his car. It's my car. I'm building it the way I want to build it. And I'm hiding all of the air suspension. So if I leave it at ride height and walk away from it, unless somebody crawls under the truck crawls under the car to look forward and see that there's airbags in the front end, no one's ever going to see them. They're all hidden.
I can't wait to see that setup.
I'll send you a picture of it.
I'm really excited to see this.
So, you know, it's got an 18.5-inch kick-up in the rear. It has a 2000 Camaro rear end. Like, it is what it is. And when it's done, I'm going to be proud of it. Is it going to be spotlessly painted? No. Will it probably get rattle can at some point in its life? Probably.
Fucking better.
You know, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that has to answer for that car. So I'm not building it on a Bowling Brothers chassis. It probably will end up with a 32 grill just because they sell a chopped grill shell and a radiator that fits for a small block Chevrolet.
Cheap.
And it's cheap. So that probably will happen. But I didn't drill holes in the frame. I didn't make it look like a 6-speed shop car. I didn't make it look, we didn't do cantilever front suspension to put it on air ride. We did stuff that was different.
When you told me you were keeping the straight axle, I was very happy.
It's going to be cow steering too.
Look, I'm telling you now, guys out there, if you're building a Model A or a Model T and you put IFS on it, you're fucking gay and you wear New Balances.
But again, it's your car. Do whatever you want to do to it.
Ask Ken Sainer why I don't have that $60,000 Model A of his.
Because it's got control arms.
On the TCI chassis with IFS.
When he said that, I was like, oh. Because I was looking for a Model A at that time.
That's gay.
I was like, yeah, I'm looking for a Model A. And he's like, I got a Model A. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, it's on TCI with independent. And I'm like, oh.
Well, don't get it twisted. That's also the reason it's been stuck in that fucking enclosed trailer that he bought specifically for that car. He literally went and bought an enclosed trailer to hide that car.
Yeah,
he didn't want to look at it. Welcome to the life of Ken Sainer. If you ever go to Ken Sainer's house, his house is up on this hill, and down below the hill is a fucking sea of enclosed trailers with all kinds of different shit inside them, and it's all nice shit. It's just whatever one he wants to take out. Oh, this one's got sand buggies in it. This one's, welcome to Ken. If you ever have a chance to go to Plains, Montana, fucking go.
I like we said earlier in this podcast, I am game whenever y'all are ready.
Yeah. Ken's a fucking great dude.
So let me C8 Corvette.
Yeah,
bringing it back. You said,
it wasn't about C8 Corvettes. Oh, it was just that time of the show. Back to the one that got away. I didn't mention anyone that I had owned other than that 2015 pickup.
Yeah,
that's a fucking lie. And I remember because I was going through pictures at Lloyd's house the day of his funeral, and he had it. I loved it. I ended up owning it, but I ended up having to get rid of it because of money. And it was a 49 Plymouth business coupe, a 2-seater, 3-window 49 Plymouth business coupe. I never would have, the money could have gone and pissed itself off had that car still been on an original frame. But he had put it on an S10 chassis, and somebody did a really shitty job of shortening the fenders of the car instead of adding metal to the frame and making it fit the car. He made it wasn't Lloyd. Lloyd didn't do it. They shorted the front fenders, and one of them was a little off from the other one, so the wheels weren't centered up in the fenders, and it drove me insane. So when I needed the money, it didn't hurt my feelings that bad to get rid of the car, because at the time, and this was 18, 19 years ago. So at the time, oh man, it's me and Lloyd, we'll find us another one. We'll build it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It never happened. And that one I do regret getting rid of, because man, I drove that car all fucking over the place. And if you were in it, it was super cool, but then you always had to worry that somebody was going to walk around both sides of the car and see that the fucking wheels weren't centered, because they shortened the fenders wrong.
Yeah.
And, could have done a lot of things to make it fit right, but just never did. So that's the one that I wish never would have gotten away. So there you go.
Well, and furthering on that, remember to take time for people, because that
Sure.
we'll get to it, or I'll tell them tomorrow, doesn't always come.
Look, man, something that nobody knows. There's like 3 people that know besides my wife, but just this week, as a matter of fact, if you tried to get a hold of me and you couldn't, it's not because I didn't like you or because I was ignoring you. I spent several hours or a night in the hospital because my blood pressure was through the fucking roof and I almost had a stroke. So let's just say when I got there, it was 223 over 161. So
holy moly.
Yeah. So, Uncle Ryan realized that he's not young anymore and probably ought to fucking stop doing some shit and take care of himself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
for those that don't know that try to get a hold of me, I didn't disappear, didn't vanish, wasn't hiding. I literally was not in a place to talk. So,
well, yeah. I mean, what was it, a year and a half ago now?
Yeah.
I mean, I was 33. I spent a week in the hospital over my heart.
And then you came home and had extra toilet paper and met your wife.
No, this was we were in a camping trailer, and I felt like a '54 Chevrolet was sitting on my chest.
Yeah.
And a week later, and found out there was a mass, and it's all stress. So then I chose to do a ground up build on a Model A with a deadline. So I'm smart.
Man. And when I realized what had happened, and then I realized I was sitting there thinking, and I'm like, man, my dad had 4 heart attacks and he died at 62. And I'm almost 47. That's only 15 years difference.
Yep.
I should probably fucking check myself. So,
and that's a lot of things. We just keep chugging, and it'll be all right. And it's not always all right. Well,
note, I'm gonna go get another drag strip.
Well, on a lighter note, baby, hit us with the dates.
All right, I got a few to go through this time.
Yeah, because I got some steaks to go put on the grill.
All right,
there you go. All right, so we have the first annual car show extravaganza held by the TSNL Church in Bushnell, August 10th from 3 to 8 p.m. right on Main Street. We have the third Friday Cruise-In, August 16th from 5 to 8 in downtown Inverness. And, of course, the August Hangout. August 18th, starting at 11:30 at the Cove in Inverness. Later on, we have the Florida Drag Strip Riot. It's a drag race and car show. October 26th, gates open at 7 at the Orlando Speed World.
Vintage drag race.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I didn't get all the deets. We have the 8th annual Field of Dreams car show. They're also going to have arts and craft vendors and the swap meet. That'll be in November 23rd and 24th. And that's in Florida Classic Park in Brooksville. And for our out-of-towners, the Rockabilly Ruckus is coming August 9th through the 11th at Trumbull County Fairgrounds in Cortland, Ohio. And, of course, you have to go see Kelly from Low Income Clothing at the Classic Truck Nationals August 31st in Leonard Park in Gainesville, Texas. Go show him some love because he's going to be a vendor for the first time there. And
fuck him.
And hopefully...
I wish y'all could see there's a huge Low Income Clothing flag hanging in the studio right now.
Oh, jeez.
I wish the camera could work. I love you, Kel.
Yeah, we only have 2 shirts from him so far,
and a sticker.
Yeah, we're getting
more shirts than me, but I do have a bunch of stickers and a flag. So
we need to get a flag.
We do.
And hopefully you'll also be able to see him again. September 1st is the 2nd annual Altered Intention Small Town Takeover in downtown Saginaw Square, in Texas.
Sanger, Texas, former home of Bears Cafe.
Thank you.
Sanger.
Yeah, that's all my dates. I've ran through them.
Awesome.
Okay, so here's the scoop. I'm going to go ahead and lay this out there. Springtime of 2025. Whoa, did y'all hear my voice? I just had like a pterodactyl burp while I was talking. Sorry. Springtime of 2025, I want to find an event that you guys are going to be at that's going to not suck. Something that's got a decent turnout. And we're going to pile in maybe just the Lexus or maybe the Lexus and the Beamer. So something that we can put some decent looking import cars in. And we will make a trip and come see y'all.
Heck yeah. January.
Well, I was going to say, keep your eyes out because January is going to be our year. And
January.
Yes. Be mid-January.
Oh, yeah, y'all have good weather in January.
We do.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to come to Florida for that weekend.
Yes. So we're still pounding. We're still pounding the dirt. We're still trying to figure out exact dates and venue. Once that happens, then we'll start going.
So if it works to where Clayton and or Brooke can come, school or baseball notwithstanding,
okay,
we'll make something happen. It's his senior year and he's kicking ass in baseball, so we have no idea what's going to happen this year.
Yeah,
he's talking to a bunch of colleges, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Maybe he'll sign up with one and then he'll just quit high school ball so he doesn't throw his arm out. And we can go wherever we want to.
Well, is there anybody, I know this isn't an official Hometown High Rodder episode, but is there anybody that you'd like to shout out, thank, or anything like that?
Man, I can definitely run through the list real fast if you want without doing all the side talks.
Go for it.
If that's cool with y'all, I would love to do that. They would appreciate it.
Yep.
Because I don't know that we're going to get an episode done this week, so we'll see. By the way, everybody say a prayer for Tanner Martin tonight, if you can. When you go to bed, Tanner had a pretty bad accident yesterday morning in the GTI, and the car is toast, and his back and neck are hurting him real bad. So nothing's broken, and he's going to be okay, but not so much the GTI. But anyway, so I don't know if we're going to record this week or not. Yeah. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Between my heart and his car driving skills, we're just going to leave Jimmy at home in a bubble. Anyway, as always, yes, we'd like to say thank you to the Ryland Strong Network. Please, please, please go like, follow, and share the Ryland Strong Network on all the socials, and make some room October 5th to come down to Dublin, Texas, to Red Barrel Bar and Grill for the 3rd annual Ryland Strong Network Car, Truck, and Bike Show. Tons of live music all day long, as well as kids' games and, bikes and cars and trucks, and hosted by yours truly. I'll be emceeing the deal. Hometown Hot Rodder Podcast will be there in full force. So, go follow the Ryland Strong Network. Come see us, and go to rylandstrongnetwork.org to make any donations. We need your money. But other than that, special thanks to Inky Blinders Tattoo, Bad Idea Customs, Pop's Classic Car Photo Resource, Rev Limit Off-Road, Shift and Shutter Photography, Wicked Clover Tattoo, Bears Cafe. Yes, they still cooking. It's just out the trailer now. Apex Boot Company, BMF Customs, Special D Automotive, Puro Esperanza, Toe Baby Motorsports, Wasden Plumbing Services, Sinful Designs, Custom Jewelry and Artwork, Specialized Plumbing, G7 Company, Sod and Landscape, Sherry Green at the Hair Junkie in Royce City, Texas. Go get your wig split. Modern Primitives Tattoo in Texarkana, Texas. Boomtown Fireworks, J&M Auto Sales, and like we said a while ago, Low Income Clothing. Go see the homie Kelly Bromagem. Tell him we sent you, please. And that's all I got. Oh, no, it's not. I'm sorry. I got a new one yesterday. Eagle Transmission in Lavon, Texas, thanks to Heath Hullett and crew, where Mr. Whipple himself, James Futch, is now a technician at Eagle Transmissions, and that's a motherfucking fact. So anyway, if you watch much YouTube, street racing, grudge racing, you know who Mr. Whipple is, and
yes, sir.
James Futch for a day job. Mr. Whipple is my homeboy. On this 1 year anniversary of not having the racetrack, I will say this. A few people have stayed in touch occasionally from that world, right? There's been one son of a bitch that calls me on the regular or texts me literally at least once a week, sometimes a couple times if he's got something he wants to try to fuck me out of. And that is Mr. Whipple, James Futch. He's the homeboy. I love him. Him and Manny Alvarez have stayed in touch with me since we lost the track, and that's how you know real love right there. So,
yes, sir.
Anyway, that's all I got.
And before we say ours, I ain't too proud to ask. Anybody that he just listed that wants to sponsor another podcast or advertise on another podcast, holler at me.
Attaboy. Attaboy. And shout out to the Hot Rod Hangout podcast for having me on. This has been pretty cool.
Thanks, bud. We appreciate having you.
Hey, I didn't fuck your name up either.
Hey, you didn't. You're not looking at it. That's the problem.
That's true. Wow, it's not on here anywhere. I'm looking. You're right.
So
episode 50, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So shout out BP Customs. Any chassis fab, any metalwork, mini truck stuff, get at him. Facebook.
Yep. Check out Throttle Addict using the code word Hot Rod. You get to save 15% off. Special thanks again to Low Income Clothing and Low Income Photo. Yes.
Now I have a request, and I'm gonna call y'all some hoes if you don't do it.
All right.
Jeez.
So when you've been married for 50 years, it's the golden anniversary. This is episode 50. I don't want you to call it the golden episode. I want you to call it episode 50, the golden shower with Hometown Hot Rodder.
Oh, jeez.
We'll throw gold. No, we'll throw golden in there.
Okay, that'll work. Well, I'm happy to bust your 2-hour cherry, man.
Hey, no worries. And thank you again for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
Until next time, guys, get out and drive your shit.
See ya.
Later.
Get this bitch published so I can listen to it later.